Can we just stop a moment and welcome Gatehouse School from Tower Hamlets to the Chamber. There they are. Oh. Lovely. Welcome. Assembly Member Baroness Jones.
Thank you so much. Mr Mayor, I've been listening to your answers and I'm actually quite concerned, I want to take you back to Paris and the talks, that you don't really get the urgency of climate change. You've talked about your ambitious projects, but actually I would say they're quite small scale. When you look at the size of the problem, Mark Carney, who is Governor of the Bank of England, doesn't agree with your dinosaur... Can I call them dinosaurs? Is that okay? I think it's all right, isn't it?
The world was a lot hotter when they were around.
Your dinosaur colleagues here who don't...
The world was a lot hotter when the dinosaurs were around.
Who cannot understand that climate change is happening. We need to have urgent measures in place. Mark Carney from the Bank of England, the Governor of the Bank of England, said he hoped that people like Lloyds were anticipating broader global impacts on property, migration and political stability, as well as food and water security. That's the sort of thinking that you need to take to Paris, that this is a big problem that will affect us all and we need some urgent measures.
Look, I certainly think that there are huge issues of water security, and that is one of the big issues that faces the world, and I think that climate change is obviously a very, very important issue. We've got to do everything in our power to reduce CO2 emissions, and we are. Great.
Okay, that's a good answer. I'll make a note of it. Could we also... let's talk about something positive that you could do. For example, you've acknowledged that you don't want to go down the divestment line, that you don't want to urge the pension fund authority and so on, but you could encourage them to use their funding to support more energy schemes in the renewable sector.
When you say that, look, I mean, the pension fund authorities have a duty to their pensioners to invest in the things that they think are going to produce a return which will not leave their pensioners in destitution in their old age.
Of course, but you know...
I do not, I don't think anybody would expect me to go to them and say, listen, someone's come up with an absolutely brilliant idea to make moonbeams out of cucumbers, and what you've got to do is invest in it, and that will reduce climate change.
All right, let me take you back to something you've said already this morning, because I don't quite get your logic. You said that solar electricity, solar is getting generally cheaper, which is quite true. The cost of the electricity generated and the cost of installation.
I'm going to use it. I'm very excited by this.
But
is it really true? Is it worthwhile?
But what is happening with the withdrawal of the subsidies is that a lot of renewable companies are going under.
Yeah.
We are losing jobs. We're losing industrial practices because of the withdrawals of the subsidy. Yet nuclear. The latest estimate for the cost of Hinkley Point nuclear power plant
now, I'm with you here.
£17 billion
I am totally with you on that one.
And actually,
it's a disgrace.
So we don't subsidise something that's going to make electricity cheaper, but we do subsidise something that's going to make it much more expensive.
What about fracking?
Now that seems to me very illogical. Shut up, Tony.
Hey.
Look, if you had to ask me, do I think the deal on nuclear power looks like good value for money? You know, whatever it is, £95 per kilowatt hour for 30 years, whatever it is. It looks like an extraordinary amount of money to spend. But I think, to get back to my earlier point, we have been left in a very difficult position by previous Labour administrations with our energy supply. We need to have security of supply. Nuclear has got to be part of the mix. It won't be the whole solution, it's got to be part of it. And in an ideal world, we would still be one of the world's great. We have more, nuclear physicists than France or Korea. Unfortunately, we have to rely now on technicians from those countries to get this, get our plants going. I think that is a shame.
Let me bring you back on track.
It adds greatly to our costs that we don't have the relevant expertise in nuclear energy.
All right, let me ask
on renewables, because nuclear isn't renewable, but on other renewables, solar is very exciting, and it's great that the costs are coming down. As I said earlier on, laboriously in my answer to
Please don't repeat it.
Well, I
Please,
will.
that's not fair.
You've asked for it. You've asked for it.
All right, let me ask you a question
don't-
that you can say yes or no to, because I'm running out of time. Do you
Yes
fully
or no?
support the extra taxes on flights and car journeys that Davis and TfL say will be required to reduce the carbon emissions for airport expansion? Do you support those taxes?
Davis. Oh, sorry.
Davis.
So Howard Davis and the airport committee.
Yeah.
What,
They're saying that they're going to have to put extra taxes on flights and car journeys. Do you support that?
well, I certainly think that it will be necessary to have a congestion charge around Heathrow in order to cope with the traffic impacts that will be caused by having a third runway, which would be a catastrophic policy.
What about expanding airports and building big new roads? Do you think that's a bad idea as well?
I think actually expanding...
the Green Group are out of time.
You don't want my...
But you can answer.
No, he cannot.